We've got a jam-packed episode for you today. We have some Model 3 specs leaking out, some Model 3 reservation holders got quite the surprise, Tesla is on the wrong side of the Norwegian government, and more. Here are your Tesla tidbits for June 29, 2016. Electrek reports that they have an inside source with some details on the Model 3's powertrain. To give some context, we first have to look at the Model S and Model X powertrains. Tesla's strategy from the beginning has been to use proven off-the-shelf parts to build its cars. Currently, the Model S and Model X utilize inverters to power the AC motors that are rated at 320 kilowatts for the rear motor. When they introduced dual motor, the helper up front was outfitted with an inverter capable of over 250 kilowatts. However, as much as it's done with battery technology, it's now made the shift on the powertrain as well. With the volume Tesla will produce for Model 3, it now has justification to roll its own. Electrek's source confirmed that Tesla has tapped the same engineers that put together the Model S and Model X powertrains, and this time they were given license to build it from scratch. Their work has produced an inverter that will have a capacity over 300 kilowatts, which is comparable to its big brothers despite being fitted to a smaller car. They've also managed to engineer it with 25% fewer unique parts, and it's expected to pack a cheaper dollar per power capacity basis. Before the Model 3 unveil, Electrek had a source reveal that the higher-end Model 3 would make 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, and these specs would match those expectations, and this info comes from the same source. Fortune reports that a Tesla investor group is calling for changes on the board, as well as separation of duties of the CEO and chairman. The CTW investment group, who holds 200,000 shares of Tesla stock, wants a tad less dominance of the company by Elon. The group is requesting, and this is a mouthful, so bear with me, 2 permanent independent directors be added to the board, that the chairman and CEO positions are split apart, 2 more independent directors are appointed to oversee the Solar City deal, a declassification of the board so all the stockholders have a say in the election of all directors, and a revision of corporate governance disallowing immediate family members of the board the ability to concurrently serve. CTW Executive Director, and this is German, so I apologize if I butcher this pronouncement, Dieter Weitzenegger, wrote in a letter to Tesla, quote, "The fiercely negative reaction to the proposed transaction only highlights the flawed corporate governance process and underscores our continuing concern about governance at the company," end quote. He went on to say as well, quote, "We believe the board of directors at Tesla must be restructured in order to ensure that stockholder interests are protected during this proposed acquisition and going forward," end quote. Willy Wonka has nothing on Elon Musk. Electrek reports today that Tesla has chosen a dozen random Model 3 Day 1 reservation holders as winners of an all-expenses-paid trip to the Gigafactory opening at the end of next month. One of those lucky winners shared an email that he received from goldenticket@tesla.com today. The email is as follows. Congratulations! Through random selection, Tesla has chosen 12 golden ticket winners from all those that placed Model 3 reservations on the opening date to receive an all-expenses-paid trip to our Gigafactory grand opening event on July 29, 2016 in Reno, Nevada. We are excited to share that your name was chosen in this drawing and that we'd like to invite you and a guest to join us at the event. Round-trip economy class airfare, transportation, and accommodations will be provided. Tickets are non-transferable. For additional details and to redeem your package, please contact Golden Ticket at Tesla.com. We look forward to seeing you and your guests at the event. Best regards, the Tesla team. Our Chinese friends received good news today as well, as Yahoo Finance reports that the Model X 75D will launch this week in the country on July 2nd. While the 90D and P90D have been delivered in the country since June 24th, the availability of the lower-priced vehicle could further spur on adoption of electric vehicles in the country. These 2 dates bookend the activation of China's 100th supercharger as well, so Tesla seems to be pushing hard into China right now. Now, if only they could get that pesky factory deal done. Lastly, we end on a sour note tonight, making far more downer news than I care to report on this generally Tesla-positive podcast. Electrek has the final story today that Norway's Consumer Disputes Commission has sided with some 150 Tesla Model S P85D owners in complaints about the advertised horsepower of the car. When the Model S dual motor option was first introduced, Tesla simply summed the horsepower ratings of the 2 motors, giving a rating of 691 horsepower, 467 from the rear motor and 224 from the front. The issue at hand, though, is that thanks to many factors, the car can never actually utilize all of that power at once. Not long after this kerfluffle started, Tesla modified this calculation. Unfortunately for Tesla, this wasn't enough, and the aforementioned commission has slapped Tesla with a $6,000 U.S. fine per P85D owner in the country. With over 600 owners in the country, that's no small chunk of change. Tesla still has a couple of weeks to appeal before being obligated to pay the award to the affected customers. Tesla sent Electrek the following statement regarding the issue, quote, testing done by Tesla and independent third parties has demonstrated that the Model S P85D's acceleration and motor power numbers have always been accurate, even understated. With respect to acceleration, Tesla described the P85D as having a 0 to 100 km per hour time of 3.3 seconds, and MotorTrend and others actually achieved a time of 3.1 seconds. Similarly, the motor power numbers used by Tesla were legally required and confirmed as accurate by European regulatory authorities. Based on this information, the Consumer Council previously resolved these issues in Tesla's favor. Tesla will be reviewing the decision by the Consumer Disputes Commission to better understand the conclusion that it reached. End quote. You can find links to all the full stories in the description of the show. If you get some value out of what you hear every day, please consider supporting the podcast at patreon.com/TeslaTidbits. $1 a month, $quarter a month, $nickel a month. Show the love if you can. Every little bit helps and goes directly to my Model 3 fund. But if you don't have any extra cash, that's no big deal to me. Please show your support with positive reviews, likes, and subscriptions on your favorite media services. If you have questions or feedback for me, you can hit me up via email by messaging podcast@teslatidbits.com or on Twitter @TeslaTidbits. That's it for today. Hope to see you back here tomorrow. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.